The much-anticipated summit between U.S. President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin ended without a ceasefire deal on Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Held at a former Cold War air base in Alaska, the three-hour talks were described as productive, but both sides admitted a breakthrough was not achieved. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky confirmed he will travel to Washington on Monday for further discussions with Trump. European leaders, including Britain's Keir Starmer, France's Emmanuel Macron, and Germany's Friedrich Merz, joined a follow-up call to assess the situation. Meanwhile, Ukraine reported fresh Russian drone and missile attack overnight. Despite warm language from both Trump and Putin, the path to peace remains uncertain. To unpack this, we are joined by Professor Mukesh Kapila of University of Manchester. Hello, Mr. Mukesh. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Glad to join you.
Thank you for joining us. Mukesh, can you tell us what were the key geopolitical or strategic reasons behind the failure to reach a ceasefire agreement during the Trump-Putin summit?
Well, I don't think anybody was expecting a ceasefire. I think what we were expecting was a pathway towards some kind of ceasefire and eventually peace. But expectations had been dampened quite a bit even before the summit took place. But to answer your question, I think the countries are nowhere near a place where they can make a negotiation and a compromise. Putin thinks he's on the up and up. He has some advantages on the ground, and it's a summertime, which means that fighting is easier. And Ukraine is on the back foot because the Americans are lukewarm in their support. So naturally, Russia wants to maximize whatever it can in terms of territorial gains, while Ukraine obviously really has got plenty of internal problems and is not in a strong position. So those factors mean that the geopolitical situation does not favor a ceasefire at the present time.
How does the choice of a Cold War era site in Alaska shape global perceptions of U.S. posture towards Russia?
Well, Alaska has a lot of symbolism because remember that it used to be Russian territory before the Tsar sold it to the U.S. And this current U.S. administration is run by real estate type people, means that countries can be bought and sold, territories can be bought and sold. Look at what's happening in Gaza, for example, with the plans people have put forward for Gaza. So there's a lot of symbolism about the location, but honestly, it was also a practical issue because Putin can't fly many places without running into difficulty politically. And the only way for him to get to the US without having to overfly Europe is obviously to come on the long route from Moscow over his own territory and then into the US. So I don't think a symbol is symbolic that it took place in Alaska, but whether it's really important in terms of its messaging, I don't think so.
What could President Zelensky's upcoming visit to Washington mean for the future of U.S.-Ukraine relations and the potential for increased military or diplomatic support?
That is a very, very good question. And it is almost impossible at the present time to know whether Trump has invited Zelensky to basically pressurize him to accept whatever secret conclusions Trump has reached with Putin. And if that's the case, then I think poor Zelensky is going to have a very bad meeting. On the other hand, it could be that he might be offered some American carrots, and those American carrots might be more military support, more diplomatic support, particularly because Trump may not be too happy. I think he didn't look happy when the summit finished, that he couldn't really take anything away from that Alaska meeting. So, but quite honestly, at this stage, because we don't know what happened between the two presidents, Putin and Trump, it's difficult to say what sort of reception Zelensky is going to have in Washington.
Thank you so much, Mukesh, for joining us this evening.